Resident Evil has reinvented itself countless times, but one mode has quietly shaped the series more than we can admit, and that is the Mercenaries. So why hasn't Capcom given it the full modern game treatment it deserves? Now, Mercenaries first appeared in Resident Evil 3, although it was very different from what we have now thanks to Resident Evil 4, which changed things. If anything, Mercenaries back then would be more of like a raid mode than a Mercenaries. At least in a sense because of RE4 and what it did and how it changed things. Now, the appeal of Mercenaries is that it's obviously a type arcade loop where you kill waves and waves of enemies, doing combos and obviously scoring like high so you can get the best rank. And it's like really good for high replay value since you can just play it again and again, and it really doesn't get old. It just feels fun, and there's obviously more techniques and more like little tricks you can find out in the game, so it's really helpful. Now, I think it would really work today because again, you don't have to really worry about lore. If you make a whole separate release, you wouldn't have to worry about if this person understands the lore of this character. Like, hey, they may not know the lore of, I don't know, Helen Harper, and you know, it's completely fine because they don't have to. They're just here to play the game and enjoy the loop that is the Mercenaries, and they don't have to worry about, oh, maybe this guy is, you know, this or that. It kind of avoids that sort of spectrum, and they can just obviously pick it up whenever they want to. Plus, if you want to, and again, this will greatly help the game massively, and that's obviously having more unlocks as time goes on. Let's say, I don't know, you start off with only a few characters like maybe Chris, Jill, and Claire or Leon. And over time, you can unlock people like Rebecca, Ada Wong, you know, Albert Wesker, and hey, some of them might have different mechanics and techniques. I like that in Resident Evil 4 and a little bit in obviously Resident Evil 6, as well as definitely in Resident Evil 8, I believe. I don't remember that one too well. That certain characters have obviously different mechanics. Like obviously Krauser has his arm where you can obviously kind of like quickly dash, and I believe Wesker also has his obviously you know, Ouroboros sort of thing where you can kind of just go place to place. So there's little things I think would make it more exciting and fresh every time you play as a different character, and different little quirks that would help, you know, just elevate things to grander heights. And I think something that could really help obviously elevate the experience and obviously keeps it more fresh as time goes on, if this game gets regular updates for adding new maps, new locations, new enemies, new little like mini bosses, which obviously Resident Evil 6 does a lot, and RE5. I can't say for Resident Evil 8 because I'm not too sure about that one, but for those two, I know that they have obviously like little tiny bosses, and I think obviously in RE4, where obviously, you know, you'll get to a certain number of the points of your high score, and then of course a big enemy will come, and obviously if you kill that enemy, you get more, you know, points and scores and all that stuff. So it really does help keep that sort of fresh. And like I said, because obviously Resident Evil doesn't really stop, you can continuously like add maybe DLC or something like that, where like, oh, now you got Resident Evil Requiem characters in Mercenaries, you know, things like that. It just helps kind of keep the game fresh, but at the same time, you know, that endless sort of fun that you can go and do whenever you want. I think that is a really good idea, but it seems like Capcom doesn't really realize this because we still haven't gotten one. I mean, they made one for the 3DS, which was really cool, and I know a lot of people loved that, to the point where someone went out their way to obviously make I think a way so you can actually play this game, and I think it has like extra little like content and stuff, which again, I don't understand why they haven't bothered doing this. I know I'm not alone on this front because I see this question like constantly frequently asked, why haven't they made a new Mercenaries game or a dedicated Mercenaries game? And I'm fully with them because it's just insane. Now, I have also discussed like in my last year's video, which I know didn't really get that much because I think honestly that wasn't really a good video and why I'm remaking it now. But essentially, I think the reason why is because they've been focusing on so much with other things and other games, which hasn't really resulted in much. Like obviously RE-verse or the other game, Resident Evil Resistance, those kind of wacky games which really didn't amount to much because I was trying too hard to try and copy other sort of games, which just wasn't really working out in their favor. And I don't understand why that was the focus instead of other stuff like maybe Resident Evil Outbreak, and heck, what we're talking about now, which is a full-blown Mercenaries game. Now let's look at the other side, okay? Because I know you're probably thinking, how would that benefit Capcom? Because at the end of the day, that's the only reason why they'll even bother making a game like this. Sure, we can have a fan demand, but would it really make sense logically? And I think it actually would, because you can actually chock full this game with DLC in a healthy way, not in a very, anti-consumerism or really disgusting way like other games do. But, stuff like cosmetics would really help. And even things like I said, new characters, new weapons could obviously be added over time. Mercenaries have always survived like the darkest moments to the brightest moments, so you can definitely tell that Mercenaries is a strong and, foundational sort of game mode that can obviously expand into a new game. Plus, there's always moments where obviously RE kind of goes dark for like a year or two, where obviously it needs to, recoup itself so it can actually get ready for the next release. But during that time is pretty empty, and I think Mercenaries can obviously help fill that void. And on top of that, plus you can, like I said, just expand on it, make it more, sought after, and also you can, again, price it really well, and it has that replayability. I just don't understand why Capcom hasn't sought out and done this very thing. I'm very curious what you guys think on this whole matter, and I would love to see your own ideas for Mercenaries down in the comment section below. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more survival horror content on the channel here. And since obviously, you're here and you're probably still watching, what do you guys want to see when we hit 300, since we're obviously halfway, kind of getting to that point? Comment that down below as well, and as always, stay awesome and peace out, guys.